Sparking's vehicle is burning.
Yeah, and that's that flimsy pony I was talking about. Even though you're not hitting Sparking, you're hitting that pony and making it borderline unusable for another rotation potentially. What a flank out here from Vietnam. What control of their space. Yeah, they may not have a ton of kills, but they're doing a really good job of making sure that nobody's going to be able to get into that northeast side. At
the same time, huge props to Team Korea to be able to retain all 4 players up despite all the third-party attacks that were coming in. And now it's quieted down a little bit there on the northeast.
And now Korea's trying to box out the UK, and then Vietnam is going to dig their heels in and then try to box out Korea. But now Korea flanking down, trying to finish what they started over here. Vard done and dusted, and it's actually going to be Kino from Denmark who's going to pick up that point. So Denmark continuing to have a pretty good game here. 9 kills already for them. T-Bone gone doing Onyx's spray. South Korea has another fight ahead of them, but Vietnam's attention isn't fully invested towards this eastern edge.
No, they're working with a 2-2 split. They have Duck and Haisaki looking at the Brazilian team all the way far to the north, and now Cloris is the lone player, as you see on the mini-map right there, taking some shots on Team Korea. So Korea, they have a little bit of area to play with. Denmark has 3 players to their south. Vietnam with his 2-2 split doesn't have the hardest clench on that top right portion of the circle, and Korea, you can see them, they're just trying to maneuver with these vehicles, trying to find some way to work it in. But Vietnam, looking at the minimap, the Doritos, all eyes on Korea right now, as Heaven's going to be giving some firing support there on the background. That's going to be an Onyx rotating in, but then he does get knocked by Duck with a great spray coming out of that barrel. Soul and Onyx, the 2 lone players in that vehicle, both get taken out, and now Loki and Heaven, the foot soldiers here for Team Korea, on the flank are going to try and work their way into the circle.
A phenomenal spray there from Duck Juice with that barrel, finding 2 headshots onto Korea, and they are trying to fight their way through, but Vietnam not having any of it. Soul's gone as well, and Korea down to 2 players. They try to find some way through. Circle's going to hard shift down to the south. Sparking up and over, though. Brazil, surprise attack from behind. And Haisaki is going to pay the price. Not much right now that Vietnam can do to help Haisaki out.
No, Himas is going to rotate back up north to this hill and try and consolidate with his teammates a little bit there, as they have Brazil still on the northern edge and Korea to the southeast to contest with on their path into this circle. And I mean, unless they can handle these neighbors to the best of their ability, as Loki just pops off on Denmark.
I think Loki was looking to see if he had a frag grenade. Oh my God!
Wow.
BB? He got out of his car and it blew up on him. He was trying to get out in time, but Loki just ruined Denmark's round. Still a really good one there for Denmark. Tons of kills.
And that gives Korea actually a chance to just focus on Vietnam. And although it's going to be a perilous one here, especially with Rusted Head Jr. getting that headshot there on Loki, it's going to be a difficult journey for them to actually find their way into the circle, because given how little of that side of the road is left on the northeastern side, you got to think the only one team is actually going to be able to hold on to it. Everyone else has to find something else, or they're going to die trying.
Vietnam maybe biting off a little bit more than they can chew there. That angle for Brazil could be really, really devastating. Himas
again with a DMR. He has 5 bullets left in the SLR. Can he get one more knock? He's looking for the heady here on Haven. Not able to find it just yet. Now is Heaven coming in on Vietnam. Gets a lot of damage done with the spray. No knocks, however.
Oh my God, it's just madness here. Germany getting involved, taking down a lot of Brazil. Heaven had Himas out in the open, but couldn't find the knock. Duck Juice weak as well. Clory's trying to back off Korea with some utility, but it's going to be the vehicle explosion that takes Duck Juice down. So Heaven going to get the credit for the knock. Loki now trying to guard this edge. Should see those grenades coming out. Grenade in front of him does a ton of damage.
Whoa.
But out in the open gets one, but finally Korea's going to be taken down.
I mean, Heaven and Loki just caused so many problems for all of their neighbors there. It was a valiant effort in the last moments. Got a lot of kills for their trouble. And now Vietnam's going to try and salvage this situation, work their way into the circle, but you can see it's Chris already looking to cut that off. He knows that Vietnam is battered and bruised here, trying to lick their wounds, get these reses on the top right side as the blue closes in. There isn't much time to heal, and if it's Chris can actually corner them out, he can find 2 good frags.
Yeah, exactly. And not only 2 good frags, but control over the entire northern half of the circle here.
It's a lot of damage, though.
Yeah, it's Chris. Has to back down momentarily. Himas is just absolutely fired up, but Mika is going to shut him down. Clory's now the only one left on his feet for Vietnam, and USA on the other side of things has a bit of an angle. Himas does end up falling. Clory's now going to have to play salvage.
Yeah, and Clory's probably just going to try and sink this one out for as best he can, considering that he has 4 men from Germany there on the wet side, and a dynamic duo for Thailand. Actually, 3 players in that shed for Thailand, as I missed one on the minimap. All hanging out in that shed, but I mean, this circle continuing to shift to the west. For Australia and USA, this isn't too problematic. Even for Germany, it's not that bad. But for Vietnam and Thailand, this is going to be a gargantuan task to actually find their way in.
Yeah, and I think the real question for me now is how much avoidance of damage can Germany and USA find? Like, if they can avoid, this is not great. Clory's huge knock into Brexico. So I thought Germany might be able to kind of put themselves in a winning position, but right now, Clory's is not having any of it. He's going to see a player coming out. Flood as well getting involved in the mix. I don't know what's going on with Thailand. They keep knocking each other off screen.
I thought he got a knock on the guy for a second, but he actually got his teammate, yeah.
It's the second time it's happened. I've seen it in the kill feed before, and now the crossfire on top of Germany may spell disaster here on Taego.
Yeah, it just took them a little bit too long to actually clear Vietnam. They never could finally get that kill on Clory's, and then they were spread too thin. They had players on the other side of the road. And with both USA and Australia breathing down their neck, not to mention Thailand, it's just crossfire after crossfire. 2 men knocked here for Germany as they're trying to salvage this situation. Finally, Vietnam is eliminated, but Germany with just 1 man up. 2 of the knocks do finally get flushed as Flood is going to town here.
Yeah, Flood having a really good one. Luke has been knocked, so Tickleton looking to go for the res. Flood keeping his eyes on that northern edge. Knows there's at least 1 player left up there. It's Chris. Gonna have to try to lock things down. Snaker's gonna get knocked by that grenade, just close enough to it. Huchel springs into action. Cannot find the spray though and gets backed off and taken down.
He needed that spray to connect there on Trimsy. Instead, it's gonna be USA fighting back. They do lose Snakers as he was too far away to get rezzed. Now it's 3 men up for the USA, 3 men up for Australia, and it's Chris, the lone survivor for Team Germany all the way in the north. And if you're It's Chris right now, you just gotta bide your time. Try to rat this one out as best you can. Get any points you possibly can.
Yeah, you gotta hope that USA and Australia beat each other up a little bit and you're able to find that moment to come in and finish the job and maybe sneak a win out away from these 2 teams that have a lot of players that play at the same region. Very familiar with each other.
Circle pretty much centers up right here. Not too difficult for either the Australian team or the American team to really try and find their way in on this one. A lot of terrain to play with here with the soft cover of the trees and also these hills. But Australia, for now, looking at the minimap, it seems like they really want to clean up Chris. They want to be able to set their eyes on the USA alone. And USA hearing these shots and knowing that they're not connecting on them should have a good idea that this is the situation unfolding on the north side of this map. So America, I'm wondering whether they're going to actually strike on this one. It seems like they're being very patient, waiting for the opportunity. They have a little bit of a slope with this hill to work with. But ultimately, Australia does have the high ground. They just really want to get It's Chris as a thorn to their side out of the equation before they butt heads with the US team.
Yeah, Australia knows they have a difficult run down this hill when they have to make it. And so if they can remove It's Chris from the equation, it makes it a little bit easier. But I like what America's doing here. I think they're just going to be watching for Australia to come down this hill and see if they can catch them out in the open. And Australia just moving cars into position. I think Luke 12 is in. Flood's vehicle will be in here shortly. So actually, I think you're right here, State. I think there's just enough of this high ground left for Australia to just kind of scooch right towards that edge.
Yeah, at least with this circle. We'll see what happens with the next one, though, as they're going to have to get closer and closer to that center. As time is starting to run out, but it's a little bit of a standoff here. As USA and Australia, they both know that It's Chris is up there on that north side, and if they clash and the knocks happen, It's Chris could easily start to mess up one of their days. So it's very conservative play from both of these teams right now, biding their time. 12 seconds left on phase 8.
So It's Chris able to just wiggle his way in. Flood gonna keep this pony alive. Wants to have the ability to maneuver, maybe set up a flank in the late game fight, try to take position, keep USA pinned down. Smokes are gonna come out here. Australia knows they have a move to make, and it is a dangerous one. Downhill, somewhat out in the open. Not a lot of foliage is actually gonna cover them from USA's position.
No, there's a lack of soft cover here. They really have to play the edge of this one. H-Wind, even through the smoke, able to find a body shot right there, as they're considering moving the vehicle deeper in. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they did a 2-1 split. especially if they're able to clean up Chris here, as they do have a very good idea where he is. I think he might be just outside of nade range. We'll see if that one from Tickleton's good. No, it actually is in nade range. They just got to do the trigonometry. But every single one's been too far. It's tough on these slopes to get it perfect. And yeah, here comes the split.
Exactly. I totally appreciate what Australia's doing, but because they weren't able to clean out its Chris, this may be tough. Although now he's kind of messing with USA. Kickstart takes a whole bunch of damage there, has to back down. That's going to open up some space here for Tickleton to push, but H-Win having none of it. That's another one. Trimsy springs to action. Flood down. Only one player left for Australia, and it is the superstar Tickleton. It's Chris trying to see if he can use this moment to get some points, but the grenade is perfect, and it's going to be the USA taking game number 3.
Man, what a win there for the USA. They were playing on the low ground. They knew that they just had to buy